I'll use rubber grommets to fill most of the drain plugs in the floor of the 1980 Opel Kadett historic rally project car. But for the two over the petrol tank, which would be underneath the rear passenger seats if they were fitted, this will be a important fire break between the fuel tank and the interior. So I'm going to weld in some metal over those two to make it into a fireproof bulkhead. Good thing actually about the Kadett shell, I've worked with I think with the Mark 1 Fiesta before, and the nozzle, like the downpipe for the fuel filler neck, actually was in the interior of the car when you had the door cards removed, but the Opel did a nice job designing it all into the rear wheel arch just there in the background, so none of that is actually to the interior of the car. So I'll get a little spot weld on one of these discs that I've cut out with a hole saw, and they're just a little oversized. I'll go around the perimeter of those, and that'll make a solid division between me and my petrol tank. Almost forgetting to do the little hole there. Now I'm just going to bridge that exactly the way I didn't want to do the bulkhead holes, but here it'd be a bit silly to try and do the same process there. These holes are a little bit smaller anyway, so that's bridged fairly easy, and will tidy up nicely with the flap wheel on the grinder. Good to be thinking of these things now before I do more tidying up of the interior. So just cleaning up the welds with the wire wheel now, and there was a few stitch welds I couldn't do while the roll cage was in position, so now that's out of the way. I just clean up the metal along those sections so I can put in a couple of welds there. There's also these few holes in here. I think they might have been for a strut brace there on the upright for the rear suspension, and there's also these holes which I think were a European style roll cage which was just fitted into this car before, but without any plates or anything like that. Now actually, because I mentioned that filler neck goes down through that wheel arch, it is important that these holes are actually filled up, because theoretically in an inverted car petrol could leak in through these and into the interior and reduce your time for escaping the car. So I'll clear up both sides of these so that there's no burning while I'm doing that welding. You can see I only did one edge of the reinforcing for that strut top. I think that's enough. So a few more stitch welds to finish off that process. That's joining that section that's behind the rear seats where they would be fitted, and now a little bit between the rear wheel arch and the inner quarter panel. Handy to be able to get in through this window. If I was inside the car there, I'd probably be burning my knees with those sparks. So to reach that one in the boot on the leading edge of the suspension mounting, it's handier to go through from the interior. And also I'll get these top ones started at least from this side, and then I can complete them in through the boot. So again, these were small enough that didn't bother putting in any metal. I just welded across them. It's like digital printing. Grind them down again with the flap wheel, and that will make it pretty tidy. And of course these ones in the wheel arch, I'll be putting a good bit of stone chip on in here and stuff, so that'll all be tidied up nicely. Using a small grinding wheel there to get the ones on the inside of the curve. Then wire wheel to clean off the burn marks around these stitch wells in the interior, and a few more bits on the floor. I actually found the top side of some of the box section that runs lengthways in the car to form the structure for the rear suspension. Just along here, I hadn't actually put any primer on that, so I'm using this galvanizing zinc primer and using it on the repairs I did to the front bulkhead, or the bridging I did there. So yeah, the interior of the car is coming together nicely now. Just get a last little bit of paint on that from the boot.